So, Patricia, I would like to say thank you again for agreeing to discuss this movie with me and also for choosing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. And I'm happy that I had the opportunity to watch this
Oh,
great movie.
yes. Yes, so I'm very excited. I'm a bit ill. I'm a bit sick, so maybe my appearance won't show how excited I am, but I am really excited. So, so this movie, it is about it touches upon some philosophical issues such as identity, memory, relationships, ethics, and so it is this non-linear story uh, that tracks in reverse the relationship of these two people, Joe and Clementine. And so Joe is this guy, very guarded, very sensitive, and Clementine is this amazing woman, very colorful and impulsive. I would describe Clementine. Uh, do you like these characters?
Do I like the characters?
Yeah, the,
Oh
the two
yeah.
of them.
Yeah. I think impulsive is a great word. Spontaneous.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's so alive and he's more introspective.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So the movie starts. They are in this train and they meet again. We don't know. They don't know. Obviously, it's
Mm-hmm.
unknowingly. Uh, after they meet after having erased their memories, and so the movie jumps jumps back forward. Can I say like that? Jumps back forwards,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and to the day that Joe discovers that Clementine had erased her memories of him after this nasty fight that they had. And so he's so hurt that he decided to erase the memories of her also. And in the process of erasing the memories, at first he's very angry because the first memories of her are very painful and bitter. But then, as the process continues, um, he discovers that he doesn't want to erase the memories. So, but he has no means to communicate this to the doctor that is erasing his memory. So that's the story of the movie, and I have some questions that I would like to discuss with you. So
Okay.
um, first, there is this philosopher, John Locke. He says that um, our identity is what we repeatedly do. Our self is our repeated actions. So when they decided to erase their memories, do you think that they are still the same people that they were before, or they change somehow without having those memories? Or do they change in a meaningful way? What do you think? Their selves?
Mm. So, like after the memories are erased, you mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I think that when we experience things, like anything in life, it has this effect on us that is more than just memories. Like it has a broader effect on our behaviors and our thought processes. Even if we were even if we would be able to block something out of our memory, I think it still affects us,
Yeah.
like in a broader sense.
Yeah.
So, and then at the end of the movie, when we finally saw what was happening, we could kind of see that even though those memories were erased, they still decided that they wanted to connect.
Yeah.
So there was something that was the same that was still there, if that makes sense.
It does. Yes. Yes.
What do you
Uh,
think?
I was thinking about, have you seen a TV show called Extreme Makeover?
No.
So it is an American. They're producing it in Brazil now. So it is a reality show sort of where they give people this radical plastic surgery. So they have this upgrade. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was thinking that after a plastic surgery, if in essence do we change? Like our identities would change after it? I don't think so. Do you? Do you think that, I mean, so my mom, she was going to have surgery the other day and she was booked for the wrong surgery. And she would have a knee surgery, but it was something else. It was not so drastically different, but it was different. And then I was talking about that with some friends, like about how she had almost another surgery because someone made a mistake. And then we were like, oh, imagine, they were like, imagine if you had like a gender, uh, different gender without like, imagine if you go to surgery to have something as a different kind of surgery, and then
Mm-hmm.
what do you say, another gender, what is the name
Um,
of the surgery, do you know?
like a what is the
Gender
surgery
change.
called? Yeah, like a gender change.
Yeah, so we were imagining the situation, like imagine if I would wake up and then I would have like male genital organs. And then I was like just picturing it. Would I be the
Mhm.
same person? I would. What would change? Because we are what we identify as, or what we identified with. And so I was thinking also about this program, the TV show, like if someone had this drastic surgery, plastic surgery to improve their images, but if they identified with what they still with what they were before, nothing changes. So then I was thinking about the memories as well. If, I mean, if that would be possible, because as you said, something is still there. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe they're not connected. Do you think I'm going too far with my thoughts? What do you think? Yeah,
No, it's okay. So I was thinking about the plastic surgery thing,
yeah,
and I know of a couple people who have had plastic surgeries. Um, and of course, it doesn't change who they are, but it can change maybe not their self identity, but the concept that they have of their self. Like it can increase their confidence or
yeah,
how they think people perceive them.
yeah,
Maybe it doesn't really affect the way that people actually perceive them, but it's what they
yeah,
think people perceive them as or
mm,
how they think people perceive them. I have a sister who got a nose job because she just didn't like the way her nose looked. And then I know like two people who have gotten breast surgery, implants, because they just, one is a mother and she nursed two babies and she said, I just need them to be perky. And it just makes her feel
mm,
sexier.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
and of course, it doesn't change who she is, but it's that perception thing.
yeah, yeah. So with the memory, so it doesn't change really who Clementine and Jules are.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're still the same people even after it. Yeah. So another question that I want to ask you. So yeah, by the end of the movie, they decided that they are going to give a relationship a try, even though they have heard terrible things that they have said about each other. And then I
Hmm.
was thinking, so if it was you, if you were on your first date and then you get to listen to a tape that you had recorded telling you telling yourself how that relationship was and listening to all of those awful things about that person, would you still be on the date? I'm not sure. They were very brave.
They were very brave. I had this same question for you that popped up because I think I don't know. It's now I think I like to think that I'm older and wiser and I've learned from my experiences, but it's hard to say when you have those feelings of a very strong attraction to someone,
Yeah,
when it's so strong. Um, I mean, I can't say. I like to think that I'm wise enough to say, like, this is very attractive to me, but I shouldn't do this.
I should listen to myself. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
So being able to listen and then actually follow that intuition takes a lot of strength, I think, and wisdom. Um, yeah, and I had a similar question. Like for you, it's kind of the same question. Like if you have ever like looked back at maybe some relationship patterns and you know that you tend to be attracted to a certain kind of person or a certain kind of behavior, a certain kind of connection. If in the beginning you sense one of those red flags, like, oh my gosh, this is not good. If you
yeah.
sense a red flag, would you keep going, or would you be able to
Wow,
say, I can't do this?
wow. Yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult because I'm not sure. We are attracted. Um, I I had a conversation for the channel about this attachment theory. Have
Hmm.
you heard of it?
Attachment theory.
Yeah.
um
So it describes like three types of personality, and I mean the scientist or psychologist that developed this, he says that there are basically three types of personality. I don't
mhm.
remember precisely the description of the three, but there is one that is healthy and the two there is not healthy. But so it's
Okay.
basically how we are raised. So people who are raised with parents they are not emotional available, they tend to get very attached. And no, I don't remember now. I don't remember. So they are this personality, and
Okay.
I am attracted because my I remember this because my parents they were not they I mean that's something that I shouldn't say, but they they had their problems, so they couldn't give me much attention as I was growing up. So I am very attracted to people who don't give me attention because that's what I see, that's the pattern that I and then I tend to think that that's love when someone doesn't care really much that much. So I think that I it is something that I need to work on, and so I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know
so
if I
now
would.
that
Tell me.
now I was going to say, sorry, now that you've associated this with the fact that it has to do with parenting, I have heard of it.
Yeah.
It's because, yeah, and it has to do with like how much you were nurtured, or how nurtured you felt as a child, and if you had like a good like attachment to your parents
Yeah.
and it was healthy. Yeah, so it's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
It's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, it really suffocates me when I get too much attention and too much love and too much care, and it should be the opposite. So that's what rings like do I say red flags? For me, the red flags comes with too much love. I cannot deal with
Ah.
a lot of love. So, but when I'm not, when there's no love, basically, when I have to beg to be seen and noticed and cared for, that's the patterns that I keep repeating. So it is difficult to switch this or to find like this middle term where I could have not too much but not so sparsity, not that sparsity. I don't know.
Not too much, but not so scarce.
Not so
Yeah.
scarce. Yes, something.
Ah.
So yeah, I do write a lot. I do sometimes record voice messages when I'm unable to write things. I keep diaries.
Mhm.
I've been doing it forever. And I do tell myself some things. I do tell myself, do not do this. Um, but I don't listen. I don't pay that too much attention. So I would probably choose to try again. I would always try again, also because I think that things could always be different. So I think that was what they were thinking, that they loved each other and somehow they care about each other, and they knew that deep down they had that strong connection. So it could be different. And I like that they decided to give it a try. You know,
Mhm.
I would be so disappointed if they didn't.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to erase something or someone from your mind? Would you look for this service if it was available, or consider at
May
least?
Maybe at one point I would have, but now I kind of value like all of my experiences,
Yeah.
even the ones that were really terrible at the time. I think it those terrible experiences gave me a chance to really learn and grow
Yeah.
and like increase, or maybe just learn my self-worth.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I agree with you. And I think Joe would agree as well. I think that when we are like leaving the situation, when something just happened, and when the suffering is so big, you know, we want to get rid of the pain. We do not want to feel. But so in the beginning, as he was reliving the first memories that he had about Clementine, they were painful, so he wanted to erase it. But then there are so many good things about every experience, I think. And but when we are suffering, it's difficult to see from a different perspective. Usually, when relationships ends, and we we cannot see how beautiful it was, even if it was a long time ago. But there was a point where it was beautiful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and as you said, we learned something about the world and about ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially if it's a really bad ending and maybe it was bad for a while. It is hard to remember the beginning parts when it was something magical and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes, yes. So I remember the first time that this was the first time that I watched this movie, but it was recommended to me when I broke up with with no, he was not my first boyfriend. Maybe well, he was my first serious boyfriend. I was in
Hmm.
college and 2010, and I think he was like the first person I really, 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 really loved. And then someone recommended this movie, and then I started watching it, but it was painful to watch for me because as I see that Joe was no greeting, grieving.
Grieving.
Yeah, he was grieving, and then I was, and then I couldn't, and then I had to stop watching the movie in 2010, and then as I was watching it, I was so happy that this movie found me in such a better like it proves that things pass, they do pass, and we do
Hmm.
get stronger and wiser, we get better. And then I remember thinking in 2010, like 10 years ago, wow, I'm not going to get over, ever. So hey Daniel, if you're watching this, I got over you.
Yes.
No, he's not watching. Uh, so yeah. And so I remember thinking that if I could, I would hire this service back then. And I would hire it every time I had a breakup, every time I was suffering. I would. But now, after watching it, I don't know. Maybe it's not worth it. Yeah. No, it isn't. It isn't because we lose so many beautiful things and the learning that we acquire with a relationship,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And all the lovely parts of it too.
Yeah.
Um, I have one person in my life that I just still look back on this relationship very fondly. And
Really?
it's sad that I'm not with this person. There's a reason, though, that I'm not with this person, but
Yeah.
it's nice that I can go back in my memories and just think of all those really sweet times that we had together. And I've been single for a really long time. So going back to those memories kind of gives me hope. Like, I was in love really hard and it was really strong, and that can happen again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting that that's the way you look at it. Because after it passes, it feels to me that I was a different person as well. So there is a part of me that has to die with a relationship, and that's maybe why I suffer so much. I mean, everyone suffers, but I think we all think that for us is worse. And I do think that for me it is worse than for everyone. I think that it's not true, not necessarily. But I think that when something ends, ooh, your girl, is
oh,
she?
you saw her? Yeah, she's near me.
Yeah.
She just sat down.
Oh, oh, sweet. So I think that in order to move on, and that's why it hurts so much. A very important part of us needs to die, and because who we are with someone, we are not. I mean, at least that's how I feel. It's not possible to be that way with anyone again. We are different people, right? With each person
Hmm.
and in every relationship. So I think that that's the hardest part for me. That there is this movie by Taylor Swift that I was listening to the other day. Uh, that she says there is a line where she says a lyrics where she says, uh, "You taught me a secret language that I can't speak with anyone else." And
Oh,
yes, and I think
yeah.
that's it. We speak different languages with everyone. literally, like everyone. So when someone
Mm-hmm.
exits your life, that conversation, that you with that person won't will no longer exist. So yeah, it's difficult. And then when I look back on the relationships that ended, I'm like, I it is difficult because I'm no longer that person. So I'm like, it's strange. And then I'm feeling like I'm feeling sad because I lost that part of me as well, and that person. And but that's how things are, right? So before, he had a relationship with Naomi, and then he had this relationship with Clementine, and who knows if it ends so bad like the first time, who knows with whom they will end up with. And yeah, and I think I don't I think so many things. I'm speaking so much. Sorry.
That's good. That's good. You should be. You just made me remember something though. When he was on the beach in the beginning of the movie, alone, just walking around, and he mentioned Naomi. He said, maybe I should just get back together with Naomi. She
Mhm.
was nice, or she's nice.
Yeah.
And those words are what really kind of irked Clementine. She's like, nice?
Yeah,
Because he
actually,
kept saying nice.
yeah, I wrote this down. I wrote this down as I started watching the movie, and
Hmm.
then she was like, "Now I'm nice. Don't you know any other adjective? I don't
Yeah.
need nice. I don't need
Hmm.
myself to be it, and I don't need anyone to be it at me." And then I thought it was so perfect that she
Hmm.
said that. Yeah, yeah, it is. I don't know. Yeah, she's nice. That is a word that I listen to a lot. Like when people are
You hear it
describing
a lot?
me, that I hear
Hmm.
a lot. Yes, that I hear a lot when people are describing me, like, "Oh, Camila, you are so nice. You are so calm. Oh, you have this aura or atmosphere, or like I would never get angry ever." Like, oh, oi, hi, Patricia.
Okay, now it's
No,
better.
sorry, I lost you for a minute because I no longer have a connection in my house. I'm using the hotspot and someone called. So when someone calls,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm
Oh,
moving,
okay.
so if it happens again, you know.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's
yeah,
good. It's good now.
yeah. So what was the last thing you heard?
So the last thing you said was uh, you hear people give you a compliment saying that you're nice and you're
Yeah,
calm and you just have this nice aura, I think you said.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so when he was repeating to her, like, "Oh, that's nice. You are nice. I think you're nice." And then she was like, "I don't need nice. Don't you know any other adjectives?" And I would, I get a little bit frustrated when someone describes me as nice, as being nice. Oh, the other thing that I listen to a lot, "Oh, how polite you are." And I mean, those are nice compliments. Those are good things to say
Hmm.
about someone. But I would rather
Yeah.
be describe it as, I don't know, colorful, as I think she was, like,
Hmm.
I don't know, something more alive, not nice, not kind. I mean, those are great adjectives. I am all of, I think we
Hmm.
are everything, you know, we could be anything at a given moment. And yeah, so it was a nice scene.
It was a nice scene.
Yeah. The adjectives. No, it was a great
It was,
scene.
it was great. It was perfect. It was brilliant.
It was brilliant. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that movie overall was brilliant. And yeah, I always tell my students that in the States anyway, like we use the word nice for everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those adjectives that we can use to describe everything from the weather, clothing, food, a smell, people. And yeah, it is, it makes it a little bit bland, just
Yeah.
like, oh, nice, nice,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I wrote down another thing that she said later on. She said, "My
Hmm.
embarrassing admission is I really like that you're nice right now. I mean, I can tell from one moment, I can't tell from one moment to the next what I'm gonna like, but right now I'm glad you are." Like he's saying that she's glad that he's nice. And
Yeah.
I like when she says this, I can tell from one moment to the next what I'm gonna like, because I think I'm so much like her. I
Hmm.
identified so much with her. Like I tend to be really impulsive, and I wanted to ask you this: with which one do you relate? Can you relate more, Joe or Clementine, personally?
Um, I I was thinking about that, and sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit Clementine, but at other times I just feel like I'm kind of boring. So I'm a little bit like Joel
Boring.
sometimes. Yeah.
You're not boring, Patricia.
But that goes back to this huge, like, kind of inner battle that
Mm.
I've had since probably since adulthood. Just the desire to experience, like, different states of mind, and whether it's like through intoxication or other kinds of experience. That side of me has always battled with the side of me that just wants to be still and meditate and think about nothing and just look at the sky and be absolutely calm.
Yeah, so I have another quote for you from the movie.
Okay.
So she says, I'm always anxious, thinking I'm not living my life to the fullest, taking
Mm.
advantage of every possibility, making sure I'm not wasting 1 second of the little time I have. So, can you relate to this? Do you
Oh,
think
yeah.
that you're always anxious about taking, I mean, you're coming to Brazil. I think, I think that was very impulsive, or no?
Totally. Yeah.
So did
I mean,
Clementine.
it's always been in the back of my mind, but I was like, okay, I'm doing it right now. It was not planned.
No, but you've been telling me that you always wanted. So it
Mhm.
was not like you're going to some place that you have never considered before, like
True.
like that.
True.
But do you think that you're taking advantage of every possibility that you have in life?
I'm trying.
Yeah,
I try to. I mean, I don't want to, you know, sit around and let it go by.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I also try to be balanced too, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I would like to tell you something that I admire a lot about you. Um, I've known women that after they have children,
Hmm.
they don't do much and they use their children. I wouldn't say that it is as an excuse not to, but I do think I do admire how you include your daughter in your life, and I mean, and you do so much with your life. Not that you shouldn't, but I've known in my culture, I've known women that
Hmm.
they wouldn't travel to. Um, where did you go? Where did you go? Ah, I forgot to
We
meditate.
went
You went to
we went to
India.
India.
You went to
Yeah.
India, and I think that's so amazing. And you, I mean, I'm saying this as a compliment, but I'm not
Thank
sure if it's
you.
coming out
No,
right. Is
it's
it?
coming out beautifully. Yes,
Okay,
thank you
okay,
so much.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, yeah.
Thank
So,
you. Well, I consider myself lucky because I know that if you are a parent and you're in a relationship with someone, usually it's the child's father, or your other half. I know it's more difficult to uh, do things spontaneously with another person. You have to really be on the same kind of path. So I think for some people, they would maybe want to do that, but their spouse or their partner doesn't feel the same way. So I feel like um, I'm kind of lucky because it's just
yeah.
I'm the only adult. So it's just me and my daughter, and it's not easy to be a single parent. But with regards to this, like traveling and just doing what I feel I want us to do, that makes it easy.
It's change
But thank you
languages.
for that.
Oh, I wish I could say it better, but I'm very glad you
Oh,
understood
thank
what I
you.
meant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I'm excited to meet you and her in person in July. When in April? When are you coming?
August,
Oh, yeah.
August.
Oh, it'll
Mhm.
take longer, but it's okay. Okay. So another thing that I would like to read to you that I wrote down
Mhm.
about the movie was this when he started the process of erasing the memories, and then so they're talking in bed, and she says, "I'm an open book. I tell you everything, every damn embarrassing thing. You don't trust me." And then he says, "Constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating." Uh, and then she says, "People have to share things. That's intimacy."
Mhm.
So he's very he writes on his journal, but he doesn't talk much. So, but she's always on and on about everything that she
Mhm.
thinks. So, would you agree with him that constantly talking isn't necessarily communicating? Do you feel like you need to talk all the time? Because honestly, I don't. I can, but only when I need to, when I have the feeling that I need to fill in the silence, the gasp. So with the people that I love the most, I do not talk much. But I mean, in relationships, but so I love not to talk, just to be in silence. And it kind of desperates me when someone is like talking, 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 talking. I kind of like agree with him that if we have something important to share, yes, let's talk about it. But Clementine sometimes she was talking like too much. I mean, what do you think? Which one can you relate more?
I agree with Joel on this one as
Yeah,
well because I I'm not someone who needs to talk a lot.
yeah,
Of course, if I go through periods of time where I'm just hanging out with my daughter or teaching a bunch of kids and I don't have a lot of chances to talk to other adults, it might seem that when I first see you, I'm like, blah, 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 because I haven't had an adult conversation.
yeah,
But I'm very similar to your description. Like,
yeah,
I can appreciate silence and
yeah,
just be with friends. I don't
yeah.
need to. And I had a friend one time who she got upset with me. She was expressing that she was feeling a little hurt because she thought that I didn't share a lot with her the way that she shared with me. And I just, I don't constantly have things running through my head that I need to get out. So we're
Yeah.
just different.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I remember that when I first moved here to the city that I'm like now I'm moving from.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that maybe it has something to do with the nature of my job, our job, maybe. But you
Hmm.
work, I think you work a little bit less in Italki than I do because you work in a school, in a physical
Yeah,
place.
now I do. Now I work a lot less. Yeah.
Yeah. But after having so many deep conversations with my students, because we tend to get really deep after 6 hours, seven, sometimes eight or nine, I don't want to talk about, I don't want to have small talk. So I remember going to the gym and I needed to make friends here. I needed, and then I joined like swim class, dance class, meditate, yoga class. But I didn't want to talk about like, but when you're meeting someone, when you need to start from those things like, oh, it's so hot today. But people would tell me this on those places that I was to make friends because I needed to make friends. And I haven't made any friends. And they would tell me, hot day, huh? And I wouldn't know what to say. Really, I wouldn't know. Yeah, I cannot. I need to learn. And I heard that there are courses where you can learn to have like small talks because I can only communicate deep things and usually very intimate and to people that I barely know. That's yeah, people get scared.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with your thought about thinking that you need to learn how to do small talk, because I think there are a lot of people, I think there's a lot of people out there who also don't like small talk. And
Really?
I can think, yeah, I can think of, so there's this one guy that I work with at my school, and I don't really think that he likes small talk. And so whenever we cross paths at work, he'll just be talking about some, I don't know, observation that he has about humans or just something philosophical. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. Like, I just wish that I could cross paths more with
But
him, because everyone else, I mean, it makes me cringe when I go into work on a Monday morning and people say, "Hey, did you have a good weekend?" I'm like, "Of course I did."
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, 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 and that's the thing because when someone ask me when someone asks me things like, "How was your weekend?" I'm like, sometimes I would ask, "Do you want to know? Do you really want to know?" I mean, not because I'm
mm-hmm,
about to tell something really like difficult or depressing, but why are you asking? Like, do you want to know?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they are like, some people are like uncomfortable. Yeah, yes, but then I can tell if they really want to know or not, because
Yeah.
yeah, the easy answer would be yes, it was great, thank you. What about yours? And they would say yes. I I want to tell you about a conversation that I had yesterday that it was very interesting. So you can understand the level of my deepness. I mean, not deepness, but I am selling all my furniture. It's been
Yeah.
complicated. I'm moving. I guess I told you about that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You tell me you're
So
trying to sell. Yep.
yeah, I'm trying to sell. And then I want to know more about the people who are buying my stuff because this furniture, those are the first things that I have ever owned in life.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
table, my bed, my refrigerator, everything. I'm I'm very attached, and I'm ashamed that I'm not more minimalistic. So I was asking people to send me pictures of my furniture from times to times in their houses. And but there was this guy. He contacted me to buy like this a bed, and then
Mm-hmm.
I was very grateful that he told me that he didn't have to, but he said that. So hi, I want to buy your bed. I saw that you had an announcement uh,
Announcement. Mm-hmm. Or an
announcement
ad.
an ad,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to buy it because I want to upgrade from my single bed to a how do you say, a twin size? No, a
A
couple bed,
double?
a double, and I want to buy a double bed because I am improving the quality, upgrading, he said. And then I was
Upgrading.
like, wow, I'm very glad that you found someone. Why would I say that? And then after I said it, I was like, why did I say it? It's none of my business. And then he was like, no, I'm just upgrading to more comfort. And then we started chatting, and he was a stranger, like on the internet. And then I was like, I'm so weird. If I mention conversations like that to people that I work with, like with, they wouldn't, especially my foreigner students, they would be
Hmm.
like, what is this? I mean, even for Brazilians, that's too much, I'd say. Yeah. Yeah. But it's I have another question for you. I know we are running out of time.
It's
Uh,
okay.
so the last question that I wanted to ask you, actually, I have two more. Do you think it was ethical of Mary to mail their tapes if they decided to erase the memories they didn't want to know that they had their memories erased? So she mailed everyone their tapes. And another question, not very related to this, but is
Hmm.
that you find that there is value in suffering, in extreme suffering, and is there any circumstance where you think that erasing memories would be valid? So many questions.
Hmm. Okay. So what Mary did, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
And I immediately thought, okay, so she probably had to sign some kind of contract, like an agreement and a promise, like to keep everything confidential when she
Yeah.
began working there. And then I thought, well, maybe after all that she went through, she realized that this practice that this company is doing, this whole procedure, maybe she just thought, okay, the whole thing is not ethical and we can't do this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I still need to process that.
Mm-hmm.
For your second question, um, the thing that comes to my mind is especially children who have gone through very traumatic experiences,
Yeah.
such as abuse of some kind as a child, children who have been abused, to have to live with those memories, it often sets them on a path of, destructive, self-destructive behavior. Um, but then I go back to the thought and my belief in karma.
Yeah.
And I think obviously there's no justification for abuse of any kind ever. But when I think of the law of karma that I do believe in, um, it's a reminder that everything that we experience um, is supposed to happen for some reason.
Mm.
Maybe we're supposed to learn something, or maybe it will propel us or put us on this path to teach something to others. Who knows? But it's just the way the universe is designed.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to think about.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I agree with you. Totally. Yes. The last
Yeah,
question.
really?
Yes.
Okay.
No, no, yeah, totally, totally. Yes.
Okay.
The last question is that what what was your takeaway from this movie? What was the most valuable thing for you about the experience of watching it?
Hmm.
Or do you need to
Well,
think more?
Well, it made me think of this quote. It's funny how Mary was kind of obsessed with quotes.
Yeah.
And then you've been giving me quotes throughout
Yeah.
this past hour, which I really appreciate. So I actually wrote down a quote that this movie brought to my mind by Alfred Lord Tennyson, who is a famous poet. And the quote is, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all."
Wow. Wow, amazing. So do you
And
agree?
that just, yeah, that just kind of makes me think of all those relationships that we've talked about that end with suffering, and you have to grieve and you go through it, but at the same time you experienced that sort of love.
Yeah. 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 I had a conversation with a teacher called Ella for the other project, the last project that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't say it in a video, but I had a conversation offline with her, and she said that if we track back every every bad thing that happened in life led us to a better thing. So if we track enough, we will see break that breakup or that thing that made us suffer immensely. We if we could remove that and not have the thing that it led us to, we wouldn't. And actually we are very thankful and grateful that it happened. And it is true. So when we are suffering in the present, if we keep that in mind, that this suffering is preparing us to something beyond imagination, so to much joy, then we will be thankful and we will get through it gracefully, I think, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to keep in mind in this so very difficult moment that I'm facing now. And I've never been more
Yeah.
positive in my entire
Oh,
life in the midst
that's a
of.
that's a beautiful way to look at things.
Yeah,
I think what Ella said.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, Patricia, so thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. I really appreciate you and your friendship. I cannot wait to start helping you with Portuguese, and
Oh, me too.
I cannot wait to have you here in not here in this home, but in the next home that I'll have in Belo Horizonte. And I think we are going to have so many precious moments together.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you. Do you have any classes? Do you have any more classes? Are you teaching at all this evening?
no, no, I had to cancel it all due to,
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
COVID.
Do you have to
It
watch
just
another movie?
I watched Forrest Gump. No, is that the name? Forrest
Oh,
Gump. Yeah,
Forrest Gump. Yeah.
Forrest Gump. And so the plan was
Mm-hmm.
to discuss 10 movies before the year finished, but I
Mm-hmm.
managed to watch 9 and discuss 8 with this.
Nice.
Yeah, because then I got sick and then I couldn't,
Right.
and then this movie became chaotic. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's okay. It's not important when I finish or when I discuss it. So it's okay. I will have
Yeah.
2 conversations more next year, and
Two
it's
more
it's okay.
conversations.
2 more
Nice.
conversations. Yes.
Yeah. Forrest Gump, that's a classic movie.
Have you seen it? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. I saw it in the theater, actually.
Wow, amazing. In 1993, it was it?
I was in I was in high school. Yeah.
Wow, amazing,
Hmm.
amazing. Yeah, it was the first time I've seen it. I think most
Oh,
movies,
cool.
every movie, all the movies that I've seen
Hmm.
for this project, they were the first time. So I'm very glad. I've learned a lot from every and each one of those movies. So
Good.
thank you
Thank
for being a
you.
part of this. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So I wish you a happy new year. and
Happy New Year to you.
we'll be in touch. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm very grateful. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you, Camilla.
So this is for you, and see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.